So this is my 3 talking points from today's Liverpool versus Crystal Palace game. Not a great performance from Liverpool. Let's just start off with that. I did talk about this in the match reaction video. Not a great performance. First half was pretty dreadful. But yeah, there's not a lot more that needs to be said on that one. But I'm going to get stuck straight into the 3 things, the 3 talking points that I want to cover, and the 3 takeaways, I guess, from my point of view. The first being set pieces. Set pieces seem to be a real problem for Liverpool at the minute. The goal from Sarr, the first goal, was the 4th goal that Liverpool have conceded from set pieces this season. Now, you could say that Nketiah's goal was also from a set piece. I mean, it comes in from a long throw from the right, kind of bobbles about a bit, it's headed back in by Will Hughes, and then we don't set ourselves, we don't track Nketiah, and he volleys it in. So for me, we've conceded 5 goals from set pieces this season. Now, that's starting to be a pattern. Conceding set piece goals are always a real bugbear for managers. They absolutely despise it. It generally shows a lack of organisation, a lack of concentration. Set pieces are seen as... set piece goals are seen as preventative by most managers, most coaches, because if you are organised, you keep your shape, you track your runners, or you track your zones, however you're marking, whether it's zonal or man-to-man, however you're doing it, you should be preventing and limiting those set piece. Sometimes it is just it's a fluke or it's a wonder goal or whatever, but that neither of those would fall into that category today. It was balls bobbling around and not picking up your second balls and things like that, and that's effectively what Liverpool have conceded 2 goals on today. Conceding early, conceding late is another factor. Maybe concentration's another issue, but certainly organisation amongst our team. And that isn't just a defensive problem, by the way, because set pieces is a whole team issue, isn't it? And maybe it is because of the fact that we've got so many new faces in the squad. Could that be a factor? Maybe the fact that we've got, Kirkes starts today, Isak starts today, WIRTZ starts today. We've had, Trent isn't on the right-hand side of Konate as he always used to be. Now it's mostly Conor Bradley or Frimpong. We've got new faces in and around the squad. Obviously Nketiah when he's played, but we've generally had some issues around set pieces, and it felt like today it's just come to life and it's shown itself to be a major issue. So I think that's one thing that's going to really frustrate Arne Slot. It's going to really frustrate the coaches, Sipke Hulshoff, Giovanni Van Bronckhorst. They're going to have to work on that on the training pitch and figure out exactly why this is happening. What can we do to prevent it happening as much in future? Because Virgil van Dijk and Konate can only do so much. They're only 2 men at the back, and it relies on everyone picking up the runners, and we just haven't done that too often this season. So yeah, set pieces, set piece goals, conceding from set pieces, that's starting to look like a pattern now for Liverpool. It's starting to look like a pattern, and it's something we need to nip in the bud very, very quickly. So first takeaway from today, set pieces, we need to be on top of. Second thing I want to talk about is something that inevitably people are always going to talk about, and people have been talking about in non-stop, incessantly since the start of the season, is the Florian Wirtz enigma, the Florian Wirtz experiment that is going on right now. Now, when I'm talking about that, I'm not talking about the player per se. I still think Florian Wirtz is an absolutely tremendous player. That shouldn't be a controversial statement to make. We are 6 games into a Premier League season, and the guy has still only 22. He's in a new country, a new team, a new league, all this stuff. It's going to take time. We know that, right? Don't let anyone try and, he's absolutely, for that money, he should come in and just work immediately. Well, we all know that's not what football is like. We know that he's a human being at the end of the day. And there's been plenty of other players over the years who haven't quite adapted to the Premier League. when they first arrived. In fact, it used to be the industry standard, wasn't it, that when new players come in from foreign lands, they are given, especially young players, they're given kind of a year to settle in. Especially young players. WIRTZ, 22. You'd expect these players to come in and take maybe a year to get up to pace. Loads of players historically have struggled when they first arrived. Pires, David Silva, Thierry Henry took a while to get his first goal for Arsenal. Didier Drogba at Chelsea too. Bergkamp was pretty slow when he started out at Arsenal. Loads of players, you could say, who came and didn't immediately just set the world alight. It doesn't always happen like that. But the thing I want to talk about with WIRTZ isn't necessarily his performances or his output. None of that really mattered today, I didn't think. I feel the experiment that I want to talk about with him is playing him from the left. Doesn't work. Or isn't working yet. And I think we need to can that pretty quickly. Because I felt like that was a major issue for us in the first half. Florian Wirtz excels when he is operating almost in a free role, I guess, in that number 10. Being able to drift left and drift right and drop deep and attack the box and arrive late and all that he needs that freedom to excel. And when you give him that freedom to excel and you give him the ability to pick the ball up in those dangerous sort of those half spaces, I guess, it's always going to be where you see the best of him. Today, it feels like Arne Slot didn't want to make the decision on who to drop in that midfield three. He didn't want to make the decision. He didn't know whether to drop McAllister or put Szoboszlai at right back and drop Bradley. I don't think dropping Gravenberch was ever an option, but he can either put Wirtz as part of a midfield three and have Gravenberch and McAllister behind him, or Gravenberch and Szoboszlai behind him, or whatever. Any combination of those two. He can either put him in that 10 and put him in the midfield three, or he can do what he did today, which is try and foist him out wide into Gakpo's position, and then he can keep his precious midfield three, his Szoboszlai, McAllister, Gravenberch triumvirate that has worked so well since he came in. And I can understand why he wants to protect that and keep that, because that makes us tactically sound for the most part. It stops us getting overwhelmed in midfield, which ironically we did today. But what it did, unfortunately, I feel like today with Wirtz is Wirtz ended up drifting in. Whether he was given license to do that, I don't know, but his natural tendency is to drift inside, and therefore we had Munoz causing chaos on our left side, their right. Munoz was pushing up down the right-hand side. Sarr was tucking in, and they got in behind a number of times like that. So I feel like Wirtz was a real problem. Munoz was a real problem. And I think we need to make a decision. I think Arne Slot needs to make a decision going forward as to what he does with Florian Wirtz. Does he play him left? And if so, then we need to come up with some sort of a tactical switch up to cover for him on that side. Or do you play him as part of the midfield three and maybe Szoboszlai's our permanent right back? I'm not advocating for that, by the way, but maybe that's what we're saying. If you want Szoboszlai on the pitch and you want McAllister and you want Gravenberch, then you have to put Szoboszlai right back. Or you don't have Wirtz. Wirtz sits on the bench and maybe he's not up to speed yet. Maybe that's part of the solution. I don't know. But what it can't be is what happened today, which is a mishmash of all those things. Eventually we know that he knows he got it wrong because he takes Bradley off at half-time. He puts Szoboszlai there. He takes McAllister off. He puts Curtis Jones in there. He moves Wirtz into the middle. Gakpo comes on at half-time. And we know that's... You can see. Slot's seen it. He knows. He should have done it. And I imagine we see a very, very different side next week at Stamford Bridge and certainly midweek against Galatasaray. So that's a real problem. Wirtz, that conundrum needs solving. And it needs solving very, very quickly. I'm not really concerned too much about his actual performance levels, his energy, what he's contributing. None of that really matters as much. To me, at least, right now. But I do think how the manager is using him is not going to get the best out of him if you're asking him to play in a way that's completely unfamiliar to him. Maybe not completely unfamiliar. He's played that way in Germany. My point is, it's not going to be the way we get out. That's not where we use Florian Wirtz. That is not what we signed him for. We haven't signed him to be a left winger. We've signed him to be a 10. We've signed him to play and operate in that space. And if we don't do that and we don't stick to that, then we might as well not have him on the pitch. We'd be better off keeping our shape and starting Gakpo. Or putting Ngamoa there, whatever, I don't mind. We need to have some sort of a commitment to making that work. The third thing I want to finish on is a positive. It's Federico Chiesa, because Chiesa yet again has come off the bench and contributed and, you know, got us back into the game. It's that sort of fight that the guy is just absolutely adored for, and it's getting very, very close to the point now where he might actually maybe just be starting on Tuesday night against Galatasaray. I don't know if there's a way we can keep him out of the side any longer, because the performances that he's producing coming off the bench and the results he's getting coming off the bench have been such that he deserves some minutes from the start now. He creates the opener in midweek against Southampton, and he creates the winner for Nketiah. He comes on and scores today. He scored against Bournemouth off the bench. Played a big part in the Newcastle game as well off the bench. I just feel like he's earned his stripes now, and he needs to be given a chance from the start. So I really like Federico Chiesa. He's a player that I think deserves more minutes from the start, and I just wanted to mention that as one of the key takeaways, maybe a positive amidst. There'll be a lot of negatives on social media tonight. First two, I've been pretty negative with. Set pieces we need to sort out, and WIRTZ, we need to sort out what we're doing with him. But I just wanted to finish on a positive. Liverpool still top of the league. I said in the last video, by the way, that we're 6 points clear. We're actually not. We're only 3 points clear of Palace. But we're 5 points clear of Arsenal. We were 6 points clear of Arsenal up until Nketiah scored. That's what I looked at the league table. I was like, oh, we're still 6 points clear going into tomorrow. It's fine. And then I put my phone down. And Nketiah scores. So, yeah, 5 points clear of Arsenal. Hopefully, we're still 5 points clear of Arsenal tomorrow. Come on, Newcastle. I'll be live for that one. But, yeah, just a rough day at the office for Liverpool. We concede late. It's always gutting when you concede late. Even though we scored late again, I feel like that would have been unfair if Palace had not taken 3 points today. I've said that in the last video. I'll say it again. And I think that's the thing we've got to take a crumb of comfort from as Liverpool fans is we've done it to many other teams, haven't we, recently, and over the years, under Slot, under Klopp, where we've pinched games late and we've gone, the bloody hell have we done that? We never deserved that. We've done it a few times this season. Palace did it to us today. It happens. It's football. Palace, I think, over the full 90 minutes, probably deserved it today. Well, not probably. Definitely deserved it today. They wiped the floor with us in the first half. And please give us Adam Wharton. Crystal Palace, well done. That's my 3 things. And I will see you all tomorrow for Newcastle Arsenal. Take it easy.